Guarda che bello.
and Shadow were able to win a game. We talked about it on the leaderboards. Outside of this game, they weren't able to do much, right? So they had their win
raga,
from
io
high ground,
resto per
typical
un'ora a
of them in
guardare
terms of
qua,
their
raga,
playstyle.
resto un'ora a guardare.
Being able to have more games like this over the course of
Metti la base.
Yeah, and you know, this is the turning point in the tournament for us. This was Hen, Janice, and Chapik's game number 4, where they showed that even contested, these guys can pick up big victory royales. And this is the first victory royale. Extremely impressive stuff for them. And this was even their first and only victory royale of the game.
E non esce tra biscotti.
Yeah, you take a look now. Thought of, you know, the last moments of the tournament, really, right? The last couple of games where things really do start to get intense. Great finish, and if anything, the likes of Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki winning a game, and you can see Trulex dropping down, hitting key shots to win them the game in the end. A phenomenal performance, but we started, we finished it with the team who won it all last season, right? The FNCS champions picked up that final game. And what a zone to do it, right, Reese?
Exactly the same as Zone 1 almost, and they won 2 games as well. So no surprise, these guys learned from that game 1, and here we go, winning game number 6.
So clean. And that package was absolutely insane, by the way, the hype. I just felt it once again, just coursing through my veins. Okay. Number 2, okay? I'm kind of curious to pick your brain a little bit, Reese. I wanted to see, you know, some of these trios are having a difficult time PO-wise and making it out alive. So I'm curious to see, like, do you think trios might be changing up their drop spots coming into day number 2?
Yeah, I think if you look at the leaderboard, you have to think, right, if we're dropping, say, for example, the 2 teams currently in retail row, we've got Wolfie's team going against Kiko's team, both not performing too well in the leaderboards right now, both, I think, 20th all the way down till 33rd, I think, somewhere in that range. So they're really going to have to think, what we're going to change up in our strategy. And Wolfie's team, during the qualifier and also during the heats, have ended up dropping in Dirty Docks and also Steamy Stacks. So you've got to think, if it's not working out for them so far in retail, maybe they go Dirty and contest Thomas Flicking a Nas, or maybe even up to Steamy and contest our current place leaders, which has potentially been alluded to on Twitter so far. So could see some changes in drop spots today.
Yeah, I think that's always bound to happen on that second day, right? Teams sort of maybe get a bit nervous about how they perform.
Fra, scrivi che sei, Fra, scrivi che sei.
So they look to switch things up, definitely a possibility.
All right, Levin, talk to me about some sleeper teams, because I feel like you've got one that didn't get much broadcast time yesterday, but they're still performing extremely well.
Well, yeah, Zeke, there were 3 teams in the top 10 that stood out to me for contrasting reasons, right? You know, Kiri actually, Stormy right, and Toos over at Slurpee. Teams mechanically in all of Europe, and they were incredibly consistent. They played incredibly well. But the one thing that stood out to me, 2.83 average eliminations. More aggressive outside of Slurpee, right? Taking a look over at Misty Meadows, though, Pizza, Strokey, a record-breaking team from the qualifying weeks. Complete opposites, right? 5 average eliminations, the second highest of anybody in all of the lobby, right? These guys were incredibly aggressive, getting a lot of their points via eliminations, and all the way at the top of the map, right? This one is the most peculiar one to me. This one. Now, they had no games in the top 10. That's like weird. How do you get top 10 without any games in the top 10? Crazy stuff. If they can be a bit more consistent, imagine where it could finish, right? Way higher than top 10 you'd expect. So be interesting to see how these guys do out of Stealthy Strong.
Absolutely. Now, boys, we're going to talk about this, all right? Flick, Anas, Thomas HD, a trio we think can go all the way, but right now they're coming into day number 2 in 8th. I mean, what do they need to do? What do we need to change up to climb these leaderboards?
Well, the big thing. Oh, no, you
no, go ahead. No, take away. Be my.
We're so excited.
All I was going to really say about these guys is the big thing is that, you know, they need to be a bit more aggressive in terms of surge positioning, right? We saw in zones like this where they land. The surge tags, but typically of the better teams, you maybe see them get a bit deeper, maybe try and get positions a bit deeper in the zone so they have a larger range of teams to get for storm surge tags. Nothing too, you know, out of the norm, nothing too spectacular, but just a small tweak that they could make.
Now, I kind of want to shift topics really quickly, because I want to remind everybody of our predictions coming into day number 2 of the finals. Levin, Shayo, you both agree that Anas, Flick, and Thomas H. This is why I brought up my point, because you do think they could go all the way.
Sì, invece io ho visto uno di 7. I'm sticking with the boys. I think they will be hungry to finally get that FNCS championship win, and they are still poised to really, you know, put a good performance into the sitting in 8th at the moment.
I am for the racing tonight.
Yep, and you know, I've gone with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. You know, these guys have fixed all their mistakes, it seems, and into yesterday, when I spoke to Tayson, he said, as soon as we get Storm Surge, we are fine, and that's exactly what they did on day 1. They did have a little bit lower average eliminations than they normally would, so if today we see them with large pop-offs, this is going to be them climbing up the leaderboards, potentially looking for that championship again.
Yeah, Sancho looks like a genius, because his pick is in first right now with Refsguard, Savage, and Andretta, so if they can just stay there, Sancho's going to take it all today.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho West and Shy Wager to start.
No.
This is the finale of the finals, the last day of a multi-week event. Whether you're in Party Royale, on the couch, or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play today, $1.3 million on the line for EU as well. This is going to be insane.
And don't you go anywhere, because the action is already kicking off with our #1 place team being contested at Steamy Stacks. We all saw this going down on social media. Will it be Wolfies actually here? No, it's actually Nexus Trio. This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million+ are on the line, and the championship is at stake, and here is our defending champions, Hen, Janice, and Chapix, already trading between Highcrest. It is a deja vu moment, the sequel to the fireworks that we saw in day 1. Shio, it's already picking up, baby. It is the FNCS EU.
Yeah, and it's absolute deja vu. Highcrest already going down inside the first game. We saw 12 games played yesterday. In all, or 6 games played yesterday. There's 12 games to play. In all 6, these guys fought over and over again. Highcrest either going down first or Hen this time. It will be Highcrest. Knight and Vortex will have to try to pick up the slack here, but with a top-tier trio who's won this POI over and over, just breathing down your neck, it seems absolutely impossible.
Here we go. These are very important moments. Looks like Andretta actually gets knocked, we'll keep an eye on the feed on that here. That is our #1 team, already a knock against them. Let's go ahead and focus back in here. Chapix, Hen, on the like basically so close, getting a repeat championship.
We'll flip back and forth between those POIs. Now the fight's actually breaking down at Steamy Stacks. Savage, Refsguard seem to have wiped Screwy and Nexus off the face of the Fortnite Island, just with a little bit of a consequence of Andretta getting knocked. It feels like Sancho just got a free buff points off spawn. There wasn't really any much contention whatsoever. I think Savage might actually still be looking for the rest of the squad for the moment. They might be slightly split, looking at how things are going so far, but with this loadout, there should be no problems at all for Savage to wrap things up.
This is what they were worried about going into day 2. They thought they will be contested. Usually Steamy Stacks in the EU region is historically heavily contested. Last season, Andretta Refsguard was scrapped, dealt with 2-3 trios at times contested in there. So there's no stranger to that. They expected it. They bought review it, and they were ready. And now Janice, Hen, and Chapix were ready for Highcrest once again. Vortex is going to be left alone right now, and they're going to actually go ahead and catch him out in the bush. So far, it is the bush tray. When you all got it in the back pocket, that's all you can do. And right now, you're looking at a 6-1 advantage right now going Hen's way. And anytime any team walks out of Craigie, they do really well. And when Hen's team walks out of Craigie, they get double-digit victory royales. That is the potential of the pop-off that they have here. But Shio, pop-off potential for Thomas Station flicking on us. Day 2 is usually their day.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks, and if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too of where you want to go. It could be big like Dirty, it could be small like this junction sort of, you know, POI where Red Rush, Exterios are dropping at. They have a huge split where they travel around the map. There's many different things to do. The basic rule for everyone, though, is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone, you got to win that fight. So we already saw it happen. The big names coming off of spawn unscathed, basically. And everyone else is, you know, really amping up to have a very good first game. There's still 30 trios alive right now. The only 2 that have dropped we watched, that was Screwy's trio and then Highcrest's at Craggy Cliffs. Everyone else is going to be rotating now, looking for lots of damage around the map.
And that was our third place team, Mysterios, with Red Rush and Mappy, with a kind of an unexpected performance. Not anybody really had them. Red Rush, the FNCS squad champion, alongside with Mysterios and Mappy, they had a really solid day. They kind of played conservatively. They were able to get a lot of placement points alongside with some valuable elims. But the thing that they have to work on is, can they continue that pace? They're pretty much playing out of body, like we mentioned yesterday, and that's pretty difficult to do in a high stakes lobby like this one.
Absolutely. And for this team on screen, I mean, you can see the stat, the importance for these guys on the second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching today. For like Anas and Thomas HD, their day ones usually are kind of scraping by. They'll be in the top 10. Won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2, they really start popping off. Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games. The issue is, I'm not sure looking at this lobby if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map, how spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be looking at as well. The level of competition is so high, and for these guys on the top right to be able to perform, I mean, they're gonna have to pull out miracles from inside of them. Like, it is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're gonna have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone, so you have hand trio looking really solid. You know, we already talked about Levin, talked about at the analyst desk. Nebs' trio has been doing really solid, considering they had not been finishing in the top 10. If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations, I think 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement. They were taking out the likes of Adil's trio. So, hey, you got to watch out for Nebs, who kind of surprised everyone during the qualifier stage, being able to qualify out of Southeast Stronghold. They're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like in Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, so sometimes it's good to get contested, because now they could just go ahead and post up. You don't have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems with it in day 1, this makes things alleviates it just a little bit there.
Watching Wakey Eye dropping Kinzel also rotate some people who are dropping on the way outside to the map.
Oh my!
We'll have to resort to just going inside cars. Sometimes though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get addered up while you drive around the map. The big thing about day 2 is just to make sure you're playing that first game very close to the chest. Sometimes we're watching EU yesterday. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, you know, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're gonna start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it. Here's Pizza, Ardent, and Fast Roki. This trio is the most troublesome on this entire day and on the Fortnite map. Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position.